While watching the finale of The Penguin, I couldn't help but to think now, more than ever, what the hell are they going to do with Matt Reeves' Batman Part 2? And more importantly, as the new Batman universe begins to unravel with potentially endless lanes it can go down on, paired with great directing, writing, acting, and beautiful cinematography as seen in the first Batman film, this has the potential to surpass Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. And all this got me thinking, who is the greatest Batman of all time? Is it Bale, Affleck, Pattinson, Keaton? Now, I know what you're thinking. It's subjective. Everyone has their favorites. And you're right. Or are you? You see, the politically correct answer wasn't enough for me. I wanted an absolute, conclusive answer that was backed up by something other than my opinion. So that's exactly what I did. I went on a mission. I used all the data, crunched all the numbers, comparing 4 Batmans in different movies across decades. From the movie budgets, to the box office numbers, to the critic ratings, and even the fan polls. I looked at anything I could get my hands on to figure out once and for all who is the best Batman. And I did it. I finally have the answer. And the best Batman who has been portrayed live on the big screen is not who you think it is. But first, let me explain the criteria and the data I used to determine the best Batman. So here are the 4 metrics I used: box office performance, critic reviews, audience ratings and fan polls, and finally accolades. So here's how this is gonna work. Okay, each category has a maximum of 4 points that each actor can win. For example, if Bale has the highest box office numbers, he scores 4 points in that category. Second place scores 3, and so on. So whoever scores the most points in all categories wins. So we're gonna break it down, actor by actor, category by category. And at the end, I'll tally up all the scores, and you'll see who comes out on top. Starting out with box office performance. When comparing the box office success of Ben Affleck, Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, and Robert Pattinson as Batman, it's important to consider both the overall financial performance of the films they starred in and how their individual portrayals contributed to that success. Context matters when presenting numbers. For example, The Dark Knight Rises did over $1 billion at the box office, but that wasn't the best portrayal Bale did as Batman in the trilogy. That would be Batman Begins. So for that reason, I'm only using Batman Begins in terms of box office numbers. So here's the breakdown of the film's box office achievements. Meanwhile, Ben Affleck's Batman had very solid box office numbers, especially with Batman vs Superman, despite it having mixed reviews. The movie grossed over $873 million worldwide, making it the highest grossing film Ben Affleck starred in as Batman, and by far his best performance as Batman in the Snyderverse. From the fight scenes to the acting, he just outdoes his Justice League Batman performance and contributes more to the story. So for that reason alone, I'll be using BVS's box office numbers when evaluating Ben Affleck's Batman. But to add even more context, the film did have a $250 million budget, and a lot of money was spent for marketing to create more hype, coupled with a star-studded cast. So it's no surprise that it did those numbers, but I don't just want the revenue, I want profit. So I went a little deeper. To determine the actual profit from the $873 million box office gross that BVS did, we need to account for the total costs and the revenue the studio receives. So here are the breakdowns. Although the film grossed $873 million, the studio does not get all that money. In fact, I just found out the distributor's share of box office revenue is typically around 50 to 60% of domestic gross and 40 to 50% of international gross. That basically means within the US, the studio gets to keep more of the money, and outside of the US, the studio gets to keep less. With that being said, let's assume the following shared distribution, which means the studio's total revenue from the box office would be around $425.7 million. Now that we got that out of the way, we need to find the total cost of production and marketing. Well, we already know the production costs because the movie budget is 250 million. So I estimated that marketing was about 175 million. And with that estimation, that would mean the total cost of the movie would be 425 million. And now to get to the estimated profit, we just subtract the revenue with the cost. I did this for Bale, Keaton, and Pattinson since I'm going to be using their profit numbers instead of their box office revenues. But before I can reveal who came out on top, let me just say this is straight box office profit. There are no other revenue streams included in this calculation, such as home video sales like Blu-ray, DVD, merchandising, licensing deals for streaming and TV rights, etc. These could all significantly increase the overall profitability of the film in the long run. But with that being said, in terms of total box office success, the numbers say that Michael Keaton wins. So in this category, Keaton has 4 points, followed by Pattinson with 3, Affleck with 2, and 1 for Bale. But this isn't the be all and end all, so let's move on to the next category, critic ratings. Here are the following critic sources I use for this category: Metacritic score, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes. And here's the breakdown for each film. Now, I stumbled across a problem here. Robert Pattinson and Christian Bale are tied, but we need a conclusive answer, so I had to break the tie. So in order to do that, I needed to calculate the percentage difference. Let me explain. In the Metacritic score, the Batman beats Batman Begins just by 2%. However, in the IMDb score, Batman Begins beats the Batman by 5%. Because the percentage difference between 8.2 and 7.8 is 5%. Now, since they are tied in Rotten Tomatoes scores, I have to use who has the larger percentage difference, and that is Bale. So Bale scores 4 points in this category, followed by Pattinson with 3, Keaton with 2, and 1 for Affleck. Alright, next we got audience ratings and fan polls. Firstly, let's stick with audience ratings. Once again, I used the Metacritic score, Rotten Tomatoes, but instead of IMDb, I used Letterboxd in this category. So here are the breakdowns. And I also used 3 fan polls. The first fan poll was from the Comic Board, and the results had Christian Bale as the winner and Robert in second place. The second fan poll was from Film Slash, and the results had Michael Keaton as the winner and Bale in second place. And the third fan poll was from IMDb, and the results had Christian Bale as the winner and Keaton in second place. So in totality, Bale performed the best in audience ratings and fan polls, so he wins this round. So that makes it Bale with 4 points, followed by Keaton with 3, Pattinson with 2, and once again Affleck with 1. Last but not least, accolades. For this category, I'm counting awards won and nominations received. And there's no bonus points for winning an Oscar or an Oscar nominee. They still just count as 1 award won or 1 nomination received. But with that being said, here are the results. Bale's Batman Begins won 15 awards and had 79 nominations, including 1 Oscar nomination for Best Achievement in Cinematography. Michael Keaton's Batman 1981 won 11 awards and had 28 nominations, including 1 Oscar win for Best Art Direction and Set Decoration. Robert Pattinson's The Batman won 39 awards and had 185 nominations, which included 3 Oscar nominations for Best Achievement in Visual Effects, Best Sound, and Best Achievement in Makeup and Hairstyling. And lastly, BVS won 14 awards and received 33 nominations, with no Oscar nominations or wins. So as you can see, Pattinson takes first place with 4 points, followed by Bale with 3, Keaton with 2, and once again, Affleck with 1. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. I tallied up all the points from each category, and the results were shocking. Here's what the numbers say. I'm just annoyed as you are. I did all this math just to get a draw. In conclusion, I hate math.
off the jet, goddamn. I don't get no rest, goddamn. I want my respect, goddamn. I been running up a check, yeah.